Yo, 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 we back with another one, and I'm telling you, this thing is heating up, boy. And make sure my Yeti mic on. Yes, yes, yes. This thing is heating up. I mean, everybody can say what they want. They can do the racial black white stuff. That's why I didn't do that. I waited on. I'm waiting on to hear the things that detail come out, and if it's circumstantial, then it's circumstantial. But I'm waiting on the things that poke holes in the case with the facts. And now we're starting to hear some of the facts. We're starting to hear that there are autopsy reports that there's no lungs in the body, there's no throat in the body. Why would you send a body with no throat and no lungs? Was his throat cracked, crushed, broken? Judge Mathis said that there was a mark or some pressure marks or bruising on the back of his neck. If you're pushing somebody down and holding somebody down, maybe underwater or just holding them on the edge of the boat, you could put enough pressure where you can crack the lung pipe, the throat pipe, windpipe. So why would they want to? Why would some people online want to close an investigation when you have no cause of death? You haven't even determined was his lungs full of water. We haven't determined what caused this young man to pass away. Now we add in this extra bit of information that you got this small town, you got a hometown hero in Bart, who is a football player who comes from a long line of football players. In a town like that, they take care of their own. I come from Brunswick, Georgia, where Ahmaud Arbery situation happened, and they tried to cover that up. So let's not pretend these people that's rushing to judgment, these people that are automatically acting like they just know. There's no rushing to judgment when a child dies. It doesn't matter about your race and who you think is race baiting. If it was your child and the autopsy report did not tell you the cause of death for your child, you would be upset. You would be wanting some answers. So give that same respect. Let's not be on the internet and talking up for certain people. We don't know what happened. But now that I'm hearing all of these things, I'm starting to say I smell a rat. Now, being that this has the racial element of a black young man out there with a lot of white folks, and next thing you know, he's talking to a young lady, that Katie, that might be the girlfriend or former girlfriend of Bart, and now you have motive. Bart may be upset because Bart was saying that he was in Wyoming, which he was until he came back to the party on July 4th. So he was there. So let's let Tisha Tell do her thing. Shout out to Tisha Tell. Uh, is it Tisha Tell or Tisha Talk? Let me make sure I say her name right. Sorry, y'all. Tisha Tells, yeah. But yeah, man, let's get into this. Shout out to y'all. This is another pre-record. Hit that like button on the way in or hit it on the way out. You might not like it. So wait, hit it on the way out.
Believe we had what really happened. And we are going to use Warren and Trayvon's own interviews along with some thought they were deleted Facebook posts and get into this. And I think this is the real reason why they all deactivated their social media accounts because they didn't want us to know the history. The history of what? The history that Katie was Bart's girl. Who is Bart? Bart is Bart Edmiston Jr. He is a promising NFL player. Well, he's a future NFL player, comes from a legacy line of football players. His family, his grandfather, his dad are big dogs down in Ocean Springs. And what's more, Katie was Bart's girl, Bart Edmiston Jr., and it is unclear on whether she was still his girl. Now, let's not forget. Let's put everything in order. Bart Edmiston Jr., no, when Warren was giving the interview, he kept saying, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy. He only slipped up one time and said Bart's name. Now, the Marine Resource Division of Jackson County literally slipped up and gave out a freedom of information request. It actually gave us the audio, but what's more important, it gave the name of the person that reported Nolan missing to the Coast Guard. Oddly enough, that person was not Warren, the person that claimed to call the Coast Guard at 11:45 p.m. on July 4th. It was, in fact, Bart Edmiston Jr., who called, I believe they said it's at 10:05 a.m. on July 5th. Keep that in mind. Bart and Nolan were not known to be close at all. But what's more, it seems like they had a woman in common. Now, we do know from the audio, Bart Okay, so Bart was in the comment sections. I have evidence, but let me just give you the preview. Bart was in comment sections on people on either Instagram or Facebook being like, I've been in Montana for a year. What are you talking about? Trying to act like he wasn't down there on July 4th. The whole story changed when the incident report came out, and his name was on the incident report as the one that reported Nolan missing. And even though you have been, not Montana, even though you have been in Wyoming playing football, you came home for July 4 weekend. Now, let me get this right. Someone posted a picture of Katie and Bart. Now, they tried to delete this picture, but everything lasts forever on the internet. They look real comfy. They look really hugged up. It looks like.
Yeah, when a young lady is leaning her head on your shoulder, sometimes that means she's a little bit fond of you. I don't know. I don't know for sure. Bart looked like a young player, older gentleman in college. He has a future ahead of him. All the makings would make people cover things up. You can hear in the audio, now it's starting to make sense. And I got to go back to play that audio. The audio coupled with this new information, I think I'm going to do a live about this so I can couple all the stuff together and make sure I don't say anything crazy because you know they flagging out here. But yeah, this new information, it changes the game for me. You have a reason because everybody keep talking about why would anybody want to do anything to him? It wasn't just because he's black. Da, 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 da. This is a reason why you can upset someone. You got drinks. You got underage drinking. Bart was actually old enough, but you got underage drinking. You also could be the reason Bart may have bought all the alcohol. Who knows? Bart may have came back and supplied all the alcohol, and he could have slipped, and they could have just be trying to cover up the accident. There's a lot of things that they don't have to be the M word. It could be foul play, trying to cover the things up, cover your tracks. But in this scenario, you got girl with boy, another girl, boy like girl. Never know. In a small town like that, never know. It makes sense kind of why you would call off the Coast Guard with all this stuff going on. Coast Guard being called off while the boat is sinking. The young men sounded frantic like they needed help. The grandfather, they don't need any help. Next day, you know, they look for the kid for a day or two. They find them the next day at the same spot they look. A lot of this is weird. Nobody thought to find out where this guy was. Nobody saw him drown. If a guy's struggling in the water, nobody saw him. Nobody seen nothing. It don't seem like nobody was trying to deal with Nolan anymore after they saw him with this girl. It seemed like people was coming up to him like, yo, the heck you doing, boy? That's such and such girl, trying to give him some good advice. But he seemed maybe he was, you know, a little drunk and after this young lady. And maybe this boy right here, you know, hothead, maybe he has a little influence. His family has influence. Sometimes when that happens, you can have a tragic mistake happen. And I think that's what happened.
Katie and Bart at one point have been sweethearts or at least more than friends. Now, Bart's been living and playing football in Wyoming. We know the lives of college football players, right? And what happens when they leave their hometown sweetheart? That does not mean that that hometown sweetheart is off limits when they go back home. Now, listen to this. All right, let's start with Trayvon's interview, okay? Because everybody skipped over this, but this stuck in my mind. Let me give you my hypothesis. I believe that Nolan messed up being with Bart's sweetheart, whatever she is to him. Bart is big dog. He comes from a prestigious family. He's bound for the NFL. He's even sponsored by ESPN. He has big things in the future, which is why the town, I think, will collude for him. I think some type of
Man, big dog, sponsored by ESPN. The young man in the interview said that that town will take care of itself. So this got all the smellings of an Ahmaud Arbery situation. This got all the smellings of it. I'm sorry. People are now that information is slowly coming out. They want us not to believe. Like, I just don't understand why people can't go with the truth or go with the facts. Like, don't be so leaning one way. Don't be so leaning this way. But when you start hearing all of this stuff, like, come on now. It's a little too much to ignore. We got to get to the bottom of this, and we got to get to the bottom of it fast in a real way. These situations are starting to happen with these black and white situations a little too much for my taste. You got people talking about chimping out when you can do that to any race of people. You see what happened on the on July the 4th, where they had a white guy go up to other white folks while they were representing and mourning their people, and he came up talking crazy, every last one of those white folks got up and was finna assault that person. So you don't want to just provoke and antagonize people. That doesn't have a color. That's you having bad behavior and maybe somebody else not having restraint, but you pull on somebody's heartstrings long enough, you're going to get what you're looking for.
Fight or something happened where they tried to sun Nolan. And of course, we know what happened. But here is my proof. Just listen to me, okay? Listen to what 𝐁𝐵𝐴 got to say.
Mad. I was genuinely really mad. But the last time I saw Nolan, I was walking to the boat. This was before the fight. It's me and my old lady. We had just got out of a group of people. Nolan was walking towards Why's boat. I was walking in the opposite direction towards my boat.
Listen.
And I dabbed Nolan up. I made a slick comment about something, actually about the girl that he was with. I made a slick comment to him, us joking around, and I kept going.
I made a slick comment about the girl that Nolan was with. What was that slick comment? Let's not forget Nolan was right next to the girl. Now I know what you're saying. Who's the girl? Of course it's Katie. If you don't want to believe me, let's listen to what
That comment was like, boy, you tripping. That's what I believe. Boy, you tripping. You know that goddamn Bart girl. You know Bart run the town. That's his girl. And she probably was just proud that somebody was trying to talk to her. If Bart got a hold of the town like that, where everybody else scared to talk to her, or at least in that situation where Bart is present, because allegedly he was present, then this is not a smoking gun, but it's enough to pay more attention. We need that autopsy report, and we need it now. We need a cause of death ASAP. We need that throat, and we need those lungs. And how can we make sure that nothing wasn't altered in the throat and the lungs? Because the second autopsy should have got all of this young man's body parts, in my opinion. And the first autopsy should have been concluded before they sent anything over.
Warren has to say.
And not even 10 minutes after that is when I got to a fight.
Yeah, get ready to leave out
Listen to this.
there, getting towed out. Yeah. And then where's Nolan in this situation?
Well, Nolan was, the last time I saw Nolan was 3 o'clock. And Nolan was cradling a girl in his arms, Katie, Katie. And Katie, Nolan was sitting there. And the last time I saw him, I looked at Nolan, and Nolan was like shaking his head laughing. And I was like, dude, you crazy. I was like just joking with him. And but anyway, Nolan, that was the last time I laid eyes on him. But when we were leaving.
Now, why, if Nolan is cradled, first of all, Trevon or Javon, whatever it is, his name, he walked up to Nolan, dabbed him up, then said some slick shit to Nolan about Katie. Why Katie was sitting there. Could that slick shit have been, yo, that's Bart's girl. What are you doing? Let's not forget Bart is 200 pounds. He is big dog, and he is the hometown hero because everybody thinks that he's going to make NFL soon. He's also 21. He comes from a very powerful, prestigious family and a family that
We get to the bottom of this and figure it out. He might be going to the NFL jail, like the longest yard. Yeah, you might be playing on that prison yard, like the longest yard, because this is a little bit too much. We need to hear from Katie. We want to know, we want to hear, was there an altercation between you, Nolan, and Bart? Was Bart the type of guy that would get jealous, or was Bart the type of guy that, hey, understood, y'all move on? First question is, are y'all still together? Are y'all still intimate? Because sometimes, what happens is that they break up. Separation causes, people to break up. Distance causes people to break up. One person is doing their thing. The other person might be doing their thing. But when they come back, they still have feelings for each other. And is Bart the type of man that could see another guy pushing up on his girl and might be getting rounding second or third base? Is Bart the type of guy, while he's drinking, allegedly, smoking, or whatever they were doing, is he the type of guy to hold it cool if his girl is being cradled by another man, especially a black man? We have to add that into it because he was a black man. Some people can't take it when it's the opposite race, black or white, with your girl. Some people, is going to get upset. It's already enough, if your emotions are still involved, to see your girl being cuddled and cradled by another man. But then you add that racial element. Hey, I'm just saying, we can't just sit here and say, oh no, there's nothing no more. Why haven't we have a cause of death yet? We got to get to the bottom of the facts instead of all the racial talking points.
Comes a history of football. So he goes up and he's like, and said some slick shit about Katie. Now everybody knows Katie. So what slick shit are you saying? Then Warren says that he says Nolan, and he said, and they both said the last time they saw him was around 3 o'clock. He looks at Nolan and shakes his head like, yo, you crazy. And Nolan shakes his head too. Why would you say, yo, you crazy, unless Nolan was pushing up on forbidden fruit? And even the way he was like, yo, he was cradling Katie as if somebody would have the nerve to be with Bart's hometown honey. Anyway, Bart, he's the confirmed name on the missing person Coast Guard report. Why would Bart, who's not that close with Nolan, make the missing person report? Meanwhile, I'm sorry, why would Bart, who's not that close with Nolan, make the missing person report? Meanwhile, Warren is asleep to the point of showing that his dad had to wake him up to be like, yo, what's going on? Also, he was mentioned in the 𝐜𝐸 audio. We all heard him be like, damn it, Bart, stop. What was Bart doing on that boat when Bart had his own boat? Also, the cleanup audio, you clearly hear Nolan's name too. The GPS location matched Fort Bayou resident. We all heard him be like, damn it, Bart, stop. What was Bart doing on that boat when Bart?
And she just mentioned what I got to go find back in that audio, because it did sound like that. And I know they keep trying to tell us it didn't say that. An expert said that. It definitely sounded like that. And why would Bart want to be? I wouldn't want to be on a boat if my girl is my ex girl or a girl I got feelings for is being cuddled on a boat. I don't want to be around that. Even if I don't have feelings for her, I'll be on another boat. Why would I want to see that? I'm going to be on the boat getting some play. I don't want to be around one of my former girls or girl and they're being cuddled up with some other dude. I don't want to be around that.
Had his own boat. Also, the cleanup audio, you clearly hear Nolan's name too. The GPS location matched Fort Bayou residents on water with private deck access. So when they looked at GPS, when they get to the bayou, that was Bart's family's house. They have a private deck right outside their house, and they have a pool in their house. And there was an attempt to conceal involvement by claiming to be in Wyoming for 1 year. Also, he came out the gate, I've been in Wyoming, until the audio placed him as being on the boat. But there's more, you guys. There's more. Hold on. This is Bart Edmiston.
And not only that, when they was giving out the GPS coordinates, he gave out the GPS coordinates of Horn Island as if he was somewhere else. When the lady was like, where are you? He could have just literally said, we're on Horn Island. He said, we had 32 longitude, latitude, north, and then she had to say it. You're at Horn Island? He was like, oh, yeah. So it's like, wait a minute. And then for all these people that's talking about, why would they scream out that something's happening? You can't control what other drunk teenagers are doing. Y'all know you can be at a party and tell your people, calm down a little bit as an adult. And you walk off to be on the phone and they'll be yelling some things that they should not be saying while you on the phone. So that's why, yeah, you can't use that as an excuse. Talking about why would they want to tell on themselves? They're drunk for one, they're teenagers for two, and they just saw something traumatic. Some people can't just be quiet and hold things in if they saw something traumatic. So no. Yeah, you got females there, you got males there. You think, you know what, especially the ones that didn't participate in it, you could put someone in shock like that. Not a lot of people have seen somebody get unalived. That is a shocking thing. You want teenage kids to just go, we ain't snitching. It's grown men snitch. Ask Big U. Ask all Young Thug. Ask all these people that done been to trial. These people will tell on you. So I don't get it. Y'all expecting teenagers to have it together while they're inebriated. They were panicking. So yes, they could have been in a state of panicking. They could have said something they shouldn't have said. So I think it's way more than enough unanswered questions to keep this thing going and really drive it home till we figure out what the hell is going on.
He's number 18 for Wyoming. I don't know. I think it's the Cowboys. They said before Wyoming, Bart Edmiston, a 6 foot, 200-pound punter, is a junior college transfer from Jones College. He's native to Ocean Springs, Mississippi. In 2 seasons, he's averaged 44.7 yards per punt. Apparently, it's really good. On 89 attempts, he's also recorded 45 pumps inside the 20-yard line. Anyway, who cares? He's earned an NJCAA All-America and All-Region honors with an All-Conference honors. He's a graduate of Ocean Springs High School. He was named 6A All-State, and his team was 23.
Okay, I get it. He good. But if he did something wrong, we want to see him. We want to see him get brought to justice.
Bart is a liar. They're protecting Bart Jr.'s NFL career and that recording is to remote career. Get together about being front, because at the end of the day, Ocean Springs is going to look out for Ocean Springs.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all.
Yep. That's exactly what was said. Ocean Springs is going to look out for Ocean Spring. That was exactly what was said.
Sticking together. You know? Oh, also, Tiff Battle said, Barty Jr. has a promising NFL career. He's currently being sponsored on ESPN. I'm thinking this is the reason Warren kept saying my buddy is to remove Bart from the conversation. Oh, but the audio that came out, someone mentioned his name in that recording, but Bart said he hadn't been on the island in a while. Bart is a liar. They're protecting Bart Jr.'s NFL career and the Dr. Bart Sr., who works in the same building as Christine. I'm telling you, this thing is a huge cover-up, and the key players have a lot to lose. Maybe let's get into some other stuff. Tristan said Nolan called him.
If I'm a cop, I'm interviewing this young lady. Why haven't nobody interviewed this young lady? I would have interviewed her and said, why did you say that? What makes you say that? Do you have any credible information? And see where it goes. Like, why are people so quick to say, get over it, and shaming black people? I'm so sick of that shit. Why are you shaming people? I get it. Sometimes folks jump the gun, and in situations they make everything about race. And what ends up happening is, in a situation where it's the real thing, because of so much crying wolf, it could be overlooked. In this situation, there's a lot going on that you need to take a second look at. This, I don't think this is the same thing. They started off saying the Arbery case wasn't nothing to see. But I'm telling you, there's a lot, to me, there's a lot going on in this case.
Here's the thing. Somebody brought up a really good point that they were trying to leave Nolan. Nolan was messing with Katie. Bart, the big dog, was back in town. Everybody was trying to be under big dog, Mr. 21-year-old, 200-pound, about to go pro football player from a very, very rich family. People are surmising that they were actually trying to leave Nolan. Listen to this. Tristan said Nolan called him 2 times at 11 a.m., but he didn't answer. Not that he missed the calls or called back, but that he didn't answer. Again, he goes on to repeat. Nolan's called me 2 times to see where we're parked. Says he then saw Nolan and Wyatt on the dock around 11 a.m. Nolan goes out on Wyatt's Triton. In this picture, Warren can be seen in the background on Palm Beach, Wyatt's family's second boat. This is Wyatt right here with the shades and the glasses. All right, let's keep going. You see they're trading the bees. Let's keep going.
Guys, get ready to leave out of there.
Hold on, y'all. A good point was made when they said they tried leaving Nolan home. Everyone was avoiding Nolan that morning. This is before, of course, they set off. Warren says that his family, friends, and group chat have been planning for weeks. He says on July 3rd, Nolan spent the night at mutual friend's house, but he says he and Wyatt, right? Warren and Wyatt woke up on July 4th, got breakfast, and headed to the dock. He says, yo, Nolan wasn't with me, which means they left him. And they said Nolan got to the dock around 10:30. Now, again, why would they be trying to leave Nolan? It's obvious that they were. Nobody was messing with him. Nobody wanted him to come. Everybody was missing his calls. That's what it seems from the boys that are his best friends. And then when they get to the island, everybody's making comments about Nolan being with Katie. Even so far as Warren shaking his head like, man, you crazy. Because who would mess with 21-year-old big dog, Bart's girl or girl crush, whatever she is to him, there's some type of ownership. Now, there's another comment that I want you guys to think about, okay? Because it's kind of...
Man, shout out to Tisha Tales, man, but you guys get the gist of it. To me, without all the racial stuff, without all everybody trying to just make it about, oh, black people always crying about race, stop that part of it and let's get to the actual things that are there and the things that are not there. And what's not there is a conclusive determination on how this young man passed. So until we get there, I think we should continue talking. We need to figure out what the bruises was on the back of his neck. And we need to figure out what's going on with the throat and the lungs. And until that happens, I don't see how somebody in good conscience and good faith can say, oh, you guys are just crying about race. Me, I'm not crying about race. I'm sticking to the facts of the situation of what's there and what's not. And it's not there. We don't know what's going on. But the fleas are falling off Fluffy, and we're starting to get a little more bits and pieces of what could have happened. There's so many different scenarios when you have teenagers on a boat. There could be a drug situation where they might have been taking drugs. You don't know. You don't know if somebody fell out. You don't know what happened. But at the end of the day, we need to know what happened. And so that's my time. Salute to Tisha Tales. Salute to you guys in the chat. We doing it, baby. We ain't getting flagged no more. We ain't getting flagged no more. We ain't getting flagged no more. We can't be stopped now. It's Bustlife for life. Oh, was that good or was that not? Let me know in the chat, was that a good dance or not? I'm going to try to come up with another dance every time I finish my live, maybe when I feel good. But y'all let me know what y'all want to see next. The Harlem Shake, bust through the Harlem Shake. I think I got a pretty good Harlem Shake. But I'm up out of this thing. Hit that like button. I'm gone.